North Scott School Board. Start with the Pledge of Allegiance, and right there. Thank you, Shane. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, thank you. All right, so first order of business, can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
Did make that motion?
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, moving on to item number 2. Okay, would like a motion to approve Carrie Kepi for the vacant spot.
I make
on the
that
school
motion.
board. Okay, we got a motion. Can I get a second? Motion and a second. Any discussion?
So you're asking for a motion nominations, right?
Correct. Any other discussion? All right, I have a motion and a second. We're gonna go.
Mark, I would just like to say something, sorry about that.
Yeah, go right ahead.
I just would like to thank everybody that did step forward, put their name up to run for this open seat. I think we had some very top-notch candidates, and we had a long discussion to talk about who would be the best fit to fill this thing. And it was a tough decision, but I think we had a number of people to choose from. So I want to thank them for stepping forward and putting their name up there, and hopefully they'll think about running later on when it comes again in November and later on. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I agree with that too, Frank. Thank you very much.
I agree. It was a very hard decision. There's a lot of good candidates.
I actually was proud that there's so many that applied because it says a lot about our community. So, yeah, thanks.
I think we had 10 of them.
All right, okay, moving on, we'll do a roll call vote for this. So we'll start at the end there. Frank, roll call.
Would I?
Dittmer, aye.
Maxwell, aye.
Bergfeld, abstaining.
Windeman, aye.
Pratt, aye. Okay, welcome aboard, Carrie. Marina, yeah, she's gonna administer, give you the oath of office, and then you can take your seat up here.
Do you solemnly swear that you will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of Iowa, and that you will faithfully and impartially, to the best of your ability, discharge the duties as member of the Board of Directors of the North Scott Community School District, as now or hereafter declared by law?
All right, so we'll move on to item 3, which is comments and suggestions from citizens. Do we have anybody in the crowd that would like to speak? Okay. Oh, sorry.
From right here?
Yes, I just want to, okay, a couple, you can stand up, this won't take long. We have 3 minutes per our board policy, we got one in the back there. So, 3 minutes, and then we're just here to listen, and we're not going to have any dialogue back and forth, so I just want to set the expectation before you. And say your name.
Okay. Good evening. My name is Amy Meskimen, and I'm a parent of 4 students in the district. 2 weeks ago, I emailed the board with several concerns that I had regarding the Regional Innovation Center. Since that letter, I was able to discuss my concerns with 4 board members. I appreciate their time, but I cannot say that my concerns are settled. In fact, I would say I'm even more concerned with the situation. I was told by a board member that there were multiple presentations on this project between the time district families were made aware of the project and early voting started. I looked back at emails and dates and found this is incorrect. There were approximately 16 hours between the email sharing this project with the district and the first early voting session. Actually, there were 2 early voting sessions held prior to any project presentations that allowed voters to ask questions. This does not include presentations to Rotary or other invite-only groups that include as many that aren't even taxpayers. I asked in my social media if others had information, and a district employee responded that the district chose to wait to put it out until after all the back-to-school stuff went out. When I voted no in September, it was because of my uncertainty of the Regional Innovation Center, and that is where my concern still stands. I looked at the Eastern Iowa Community College website. They share information about 16 ag career paths that they offer. Did you know that 8 of those career paths show a decline of potential jobs between now and 2027? This information was also in line with Iowa data. The 8 career paths with an increase hovered around 1.8%. The one path with the largest increase of 6% was a vet tech. This position holds an annual salary of around $32,000, which is comparable to a job at a fast food restaurant. Construction career paths were all at or above a 5% increase, but the Regional Innovation Center has allotted a very small fraction of its space to construction, and since the original vote, the HVAC program has been eliminated. I was told this building would have so many possibilities, that we could change what is offered, we could look at ways to move kids from the high school and other options, we might even add intro classes to allow freshmen and sophomores to use the building. What I'm hearing is that between the vote and now, there is not a solid plan for this building. This is why I feel it is important for the district to seek outside guidance for a project this large. From the question I asked at one of the project presentation, I am understanding a feasibility study was not done. Because of that and the many changes that were made to the size and the look of the building, I feel it is important to receive taxpayer input and not rush through this process. Some may have voted because of the excitement for the HVAC program, which has been eliminated. Some may have voted for the solar, which has been eliminated. Some are still wondering the actual size of the building. Some are wondering how it is being paid for when we consider fundraising has not been done yet. Some are wondering why we are running an interest-only loan. Some are wondering why the original timeline in reference to the sale of bonds wasn't followed. I saw that public forums are on the agenda for this evening, and I appreciate that these are being added back to the calendar after not having them. I did notice the first one was listed for March 30th, which happens to be 10 days after the board will vote to move forward with the building and accept or deny bids. Because of the many questions and concerns that I, along with many others, are unable to have, I would like to ask that the board schedule an opportunity before the vote. Thank you.
Anybody, I saw a couple other hands over there.
Hi, my name is Abby Peterson, and first and foremost, I want to express the need for all of the projects that were included in the bond referendum. So many of the projects should come first before the RIC building, as it serves a larger patient or student population and should be fully funded to enhance our school district. There is some hesitancy with the RIC building in regards to the details of use, operational cost, etc. The concept of it is great, but the details are lacking for many people, some of whom are not able to attend tonight and have asked some of the following questions for me to relay. We'd like to see the updated plans, the interior space, the exterior look, etc. Is it the same as what we were shown in the flyers and slideshows, or has it been changed to fit a budget? What about transportation for students to and from the building? We are currently having a difficult time hiring bus drivers as it is. Detailed information about classes that are potentially being offered to students. Has there been any survey given to the students to see what career paths they are interested in so that we can make sure that the RIC building is being utilized appropriately? How many kids need to be interested in classes in order for that particular class to be offered? For example, if there's only 12 kids interested, would that class be offered? What are the estimated operational costs for utilities, insurance, etc.? Have the energy saving initiatives been added or subtracted from the projects? We purchased the old fitness center from the city of Eldridge for the wrestling program, and there were repairs that the city did not want to take on. What are the estimated costs to renovate and repair those? And does that affect the budgets of the other projects? The school has also purchased the church across the street from Ed White. What is the current plan with that land use? Does this purchase or future plans affect any of the projects that we have slated now? And what is the amortization schedule for the loan payments? How much more is the interest only going to cost the district over the course of the loan? And finally, on a completely different note, this is in regards to literacy curriculum. Many states have passed laws requiring that school districts have curriculum that align with their Board of Education's recommendations. These are science and evidence-based curriculum and intervention systems. In the event that Iowa should pass a similar law, does North Scott's current literacy curriculum and intervention system align with our state of Iowa Board of Education's recommendations? What is the current curriculum and intervention system that we use? It's my understanding that there's a lot of children that are struggling in the district over the last several years due to a number of issues that we've had and lack of teaching staff, many have exited our district, and we should know why if you're a parent of a struggling child.
Mark Gooding, I asked some questions at the last meeting that I don't feel were answered. I want to just reiterate on those. You know, the 7 years interest-only payments, $4.8 million. Does this follow North Scott School Board's debt policy 704.2? Debt will be structured to achieve the lowest possible net cost to the school district, given market conditions, the urgency of the capital project, the type of the debt being used, and the nature and type of repayment source. To the extent possible, the school district will design the repayment of its overall debt to rapidly recapture its credit capacity for future use. So I want to bring that into question. And also would like to know why the debt policy was revised on November 14, 2022, after the election, before the bonds went out for sale. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Brittany Gooding, and I have 2 kids in the district. And I first want to say that I support the growth of our community and really look forward to many of these changes. One of my many concerns, is when it comes to financing major projects for our community, isn't it the board's job to utilize a finance option that best serves our community and taxpayers? With the current finance option, how does the board deem their decision of a loan that defers principal payments for 6 years to serve our community and our taxpayers the best? And also is noting that the changes that are taking place with the current project, individuals are attracted to shiny objects. And I feel with the lack of information that was provided and some of the questions I asked voters who did vote yes, many of them really didn't know anything other than the shiny objects, meaning the pictures and the imagery that was produced to them. I think there was a lack of getting information out in a shorter period of time. And I think it's important for them, the individuals of our community, to see the new changes. And is it still the shiny object that they thought would make our community pop? So that's all I have. Thank you.
My name is Ashley Bell. I'm here as a concerned parent, North Scott resident, and district employee. It seems that the details around the Innovation Center have changed since the initial sessions, and this information does not seem to be being shared with both our community, our staff, and our district employees. Since the initial, I understand that there are public forums that have been scheduled, but I find it concerning that these are scheduled after the vote of the approved bids on 3/20. As an employee, we have learned that positions like the math interventionalists aren't going to be funded forever. I know that staffing needs are also on the rise in our schools. The plan to put in solar was going to save us $500,000 a year. I feel that this savings that we could have obtained if we had put in the solar could have been used to fund staffing that we are currently lacking and will be lacking in the future. As parents, citizens, and employees would deserve to be given the opportunity for dialogue. One-on-one meetings do not seem to inform the public, and in my opinion, seem like information is being concealed.
Anybody else? Thank you.
Thank you.
So we haven't been to meetings before. We've had a little change in our flow of our meetings tonight. We're going to have the superintendent's report first because Joe needs to go drive to Chicago to head to a conference for the rest of the week. So he's got a long drive ahead of him tonight.
Thank you.
So we'll let you go first.
Yeah, thanks for letting me go. So I'll do an update on Vision 25 that I've written out here. First of all, the Allen Shepard construction will begin in March. The final design did change. It includes a full kitchen and terrazzo flooring. The electrical panel, just for the board and the public to know, is a 52-week lead time for that. good chance that facility will be actually built and done in October, but will not be able to be used until February, until that electrical panel comes in. The softball athletic project will begin in March. The final design includes a training room and softball storage that wasn't in the original design in the concession restroom facility. The construction meetings have been scheduled and started. Anticipate that starting early March. The Regional Innovation Center is on schedule for bids to be considered March 20th. I did go through the newspaper, public forum on Facebook just to look at questions. Obviously, there's a few more tonight that I can answer at a later time. Savings bonds. So talking about the $20 million savings bonds that we did against the SAVE. The board parameters against for the SAVE bonds and the $45 million that I talked about in the referendum, the parameters were we need to borrow the $20 million to do $45 million. And we want to make sure there's $1.5 million available, just like there's been for our entire board and any future board. And if you came to my presentations, you heard me say over about not tying the hands of a future superintendent and a future board. And so when we did that, that's how the bonds came out, not to pay the interest, or pay interest only for the first 7 years, and then start paying principal. That keeps the $1.5 million available for other projects, such as solar, purchasing property, things like that. The total interest paid that we'll have on that is $10,508,085. Now, hypothetically, if we could have, which would not have worked this way, but we went ahead and ran a 20-year paying the principal interest loan, so not having the 1.5 available, we'd have paid $8,736,284 in interest. So yes, we paid more interest, but during that 7 years, we freed up $10,500,000 available for projects during that time. And so to meet the board's parameters for what we talked about in the referendum, that's why that loan came out the way it is. We did receive and updated the website for the newest renderings on the table, round table. You can see the renderings of the outside building that people were asking about, and then a floor layout plan that is out there. We have a few people that have been asking about the public forums on the Regional Innovation Center as a result of the changes. We held, obviously, an election in which information was presented to talk about that. We held the public meetings before the election. I talked about the designs during that election, that they were not final designs. I was very specific. We purposely did not add square footage or dollar amounts. And I said in my speeches the reason I don't do that is I don't want to be held, well, you said this is exactly. I said things change in the design. They change in all of the building projects. From the time we do concept to we work through a design and the costing, the lab changed, the indoor practice facility changed. I already mentioned softball. I already mentioned Alan Shepard. The 4 projects that are currently started their design phases, there's already a bunch of ideas that would change within that. And so I was very specific saying these are designs that will change after the referendum passes. I also talked about the $45 million and why we borrowed $45 million to make sure that, and I think I quoted, we didn't want to be Clinton or Comanche and only borrow just enough to do what we think the projects would cost. We wanted to make sure there was enough money in case they ran over. And if those projects ran over, then we had the money there. We weren't going to be cutting projects. And then I said, but if they come in under budget or at the budget we think they will come in at, and there's money left over, the board can either choose A, not to borrow as much, or they could choose to do other projects like solar, purchasing property, and really many other things that would be potentially considered. And so those are the things that I said during that project. The Alan Shepard project came in over what the original estimate was. The softball project has come in just about the exact numbers that were estimated back in March when the board voted to move forward with these projects. And right now, we won't know until March 20th where will the regional center come in at. Probably the big change, and I assume people, it isn't about, I think it's less about the increased cost of the project as the increased cost to the district. That's why 2 board meetings ago, I said if we're going to go to bid, we've raised $4 million to build this facility. $1 million from a grant from the state, $3 million from Eastern Iowa, plus Eastern Iowa has $1 million to help finance it. So we have $5 million to go into this facility. But our original estimates of wanting to be 12 million, it was gonna have to be more than that if we wanted to stay on a timeline. And so that's the $3.5 million increased cost. The design of the building, HVAC, as we talked about it during that, Eastern Iowa has started to build an HVAC lab in Muscatine, and they didn't want a third lab. They don't want to compete against their program. That space is still there. Whether that eventually is HVAC or some other type of career pathway, the ability is there to have it in that facility. So that answers, I guess, about why HVAC left. The size of the building increased that, I know somebody quoted an older number of increasing since the board passed it, is our construction lab ended up bigger, the diesel lab ended up bigger, and of course as they put in the hallways and everything else, that works out. And then to square up the building, that's where the HVAC lab came into being, is we had to square up the building in order to build it efficiently, and that created space within there. And that's where, actually there's an Eastern Iowa person who said, hey, we have a 1-year waiting list for HVAC, we should consider putting HVAC in there. So on the website, if you click on the website, you'll see the drawings, the total, I think there's 78-page PDFs for all 3 projects in there. And the newest 95% drawings that'll be going to bid. So if you can read those kind of drawings, you'll be able to see elevations and all the things that go into that. At our last board meeting, Shane Knuckey answered the question about unique students that would be using the building. Of our students, that answer was 250 students. That number did not include students from other school districts, would not include any type of adult education, would not include any type of special programs, junior high, elementary students coming to the facility for special programs, and obviously any type of community use. You know, we see over time as that building goes, that building will be used for many different things that will generate lots of people in that building. The programming staff for the construction and ag, we currently have on staff. The increases that we need, diesel being one of them, would be EICC adjunct professors. All of those type of courses are also weighted courses that generate more money from the state, and then more money from the neighboring school districts that would send, that will help cover those costs. The estimate of the 1 full-time custodian is due to the fact that many of these programs, cleaning their programs is part of the program, and so those facilities have less attention from our custodians, and then there's spaces within there that don't get cleaned every day. And so that's kind of trying to hit the questions that I saw prior to this meeting. The enrollment report is included in your guys' packet. Probably the big thing is we started accepting and denying open enrollment, because that makes big decisions on the staffing for next year, for example. And so we're in that process. Kindergarten Roundup is this Friday. That's a huge first step to looking at our kindergarten numbers and any type of arrangements for staff. Last week, the governor did sign 3-point SSA increase, so that's great for our general budget, and it's the most we've had in a number of years. We are continuing at the state level, watching a number of our bills that are out there. Probably the one that came up this weekend, as part of the Y facility, we passed the Pearl. That was always to build up the revenue source and income in order to do maintenance on that facility when the time came. There's a subcommittee tomorrow to eliminate the Pearl, not allow districts to collect it after, I think, 2026. And so obviously that, it's a loss of local control. It has a major impact on why we went ahead with that project and how that was going to be funded in the future. And I know some board members have reached out to our local elected officials to say, hey, you know, why are we losing local control? And here's our story of why we have Pearl. Central office will be only by appointment during spring break. A number of the staff take their vacation during spring break, so if you need anything, please call ahead of time and make an appointment. And then I still need to know from board members availability of June 26th through the 29th week if you are available for strategic planning and working. I have John's, but if people can email me, let me know your availability, that would be awesome. And then Day on the Hill, that's tomorrow. I know you're leaving bright and early too at 6 a.m. And I believe Frank and Molly, everything's arranged. So, and that's my report.
Bernie's being your chauffeur?
I think so.
Yes,
Oh,
yes. She's hoping somebody will volunteer to drive. So unless there's any questions or anything, I'm gonna hit the roadies and Chicago.
Thank you, Joe.
Thanks.
I'm saying drip.
And Shane, you can,
Here.
Shane can not be taking my spot.
All right.
Shane.
All right, moving on now to consent agenda. Can I get a motion to approve consent agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of
I
approving
have
the
a
consent?
question first. Any comment before we go?
We're not supposed to, but what, do you want to pull something out of it?
The minutes from January 23rd, we talked again during the correspondence section about the forums, so there's really no information about what the correspondence is and what the discussion is. So,
On those forms.
yeah, the regular meeting minutes, there's nothing in there, so we talked extensively about the forums that a bunch of people are asking about. So if that can be updated with that.
Yeah, I'll make sure I won't sign it. Right, yeah, motion and a second. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda? All those opposed? As amended, yeah, thank you. Okay, motion passes with the consent agenda. All right, on to recognitions.
Not yet.
Okay, we'll skip A. Shane, you want to move on to item B?
Yep. All right, I want to thank everyone who came out to see Cat in the Hat. What an amazing celebration for our children's theater. We wanted to note some important numbers. $250 from an NS Rotary grant for 30-plus Cat in the Hat books. 4,206 in Scholastic Book Fair sales. That earned another 2,100 in Scholastic books and supplies for North Scott Elementary and junior high and preschool libraries. Special thanks to Stephanie Hillman and Louie Webb for their work and expertise. One amazing local children's author, Pat McCall. I'd like to thank her for all her work and time that she spent on that. 1,500 plus awesome theater patrons supported the theater education and literacy at North Scott. 50 plus North Scott students learning, creating, and writing, designing, directing, and growing in theater. 40 plus drama boosters, crafting, cooking, creating to serve, love, and support our students. 250 plus North Scott fourth graders saw the show and engaged in a theater education talkback with cast and crew. 250 plus pieces of artwork displayed by North Scott students. It's just, if you didn't get an opportunity to see it, it was just a great opportunity for our students.
All right, thanks Shane. And then I hear we're ready for item A now, so Joni.
Yes, we are. I think I did see her come in. As you know, the board does a recognition for people that go above and beyond. We know in the district, everybody goes above and beyond, but there's always something a little even extra at times that people do that makes such a difference. And we, as the board, decided we wanted to start this recognition on Lancer Pride and so forth. And what that means is, again, above and beyond, but there's somebody that just does some extra things, they deserve to be recognized by, certainly by us. So that person tonight, and another one that couldn't be here tonight, but we'll get to her later, is Jennifer Bethel. Here she is. Jennifer, I'm going to make you embarrassed, but she is consistently going above and beyond, advocating for not only our English language learners, but also their families and what their families mean to them. This school year, we enrolled a student whose family only speaks Spanish. Jennifer was a huge help, not only getting the student enrolled, she created videos in Spanish to help the student and family learn English words to get through the day at school, easier, lunch choices, and many other examples. In addition to her important work directly with ELL students and families, Jennifer puts together learning lessons for teachers about cultural differences to increase staff awareness and understanding. She continuously goes above and beyond to find ways to deepen learning regardless of language and cultural barriers. Finally, in her free time, if she ever has that, Jennifer recently published an article in the Literacy Today about the Family Literacy Backpack Program she spearheaded for students in primary grades in North Scott. And you really do need to go visit her website. It's pretty cool. We are so fortunate to have Jennifer in our district. She's incredibly deserving of the Lancer Pride Award. And I can, is that student Jesus, our little boy? I can first attest to the fact of what she does to these little kids and the students, because one of them is one of our employees' sons, and they love you, and I love you. There's no doubt about it. So we want to thank you for that, and give you a little award, and keep up the good work.
Is there a t-shirt?
And there is a t-shirt, right?
She already would have got one.
Sure you got it. She got the t-shirt.
Thank you, Katie.
Anyway,
But if not,
this
I
is
can have one.
pride honoree that you are, making a positive influence, inspiring, and leaving a lasting impression throughout the North Scott District with our mission, vision, and so forth. And also a little bit. So thank you. Yeah, go get him off the stage. He might not come, he's kind of a ham, isn't he? He literally loves the spotlight. Anybody else would like to say anything with Jennifer here?
I really loved her presentation to the board. She shared her backpack program. Thank you
Yes.
so much. That was very interesting.
I know. Thanks,
Thank you
Tracy.
for what you do to make a difference in our stuff.
I'll just say that she's an amazing support to our staff, and being able to have little breakout sessions individually to help each one, take them to the next level to help those students is just amazing. So thank you, Jennifer.
And you love it all the time. Yeah, you do. You're so wonderful. Well, I hate Amy couldn't come tonight, the last minute. I wanted to have her here during Katie, but we're gonna do it anyway? Or should we
Up
bring
to
it
you.
another time?
We can postpone it.
Let's do it another time. I want to hear
Okay.
her. All right. Thanks, Katie. All right.
All right, now on to the Southeast Iowa Bandmasters Association District Honor Band.
Yep, congratulations to our students who were selected for that, for District Honor Band and Jazz Band. We have Kyla Stone, Lincoln Pettifish, and in Concert Band, and Lex Atkinson, Nathan Anderson, and Joe Trahazel, Connor McMahon, and Jazz Bands. The following band students have been selected for the Iowa State University Honor Band: Joe Trahazel, Riley McCoy, and Robert Palmer. And then Mike McMahon was a recipient of the Carl King Distinguished Service Award as voted by the members of the Southeast Iowa Band Masters Association. Congratulations, Mike. The Siesta Honors Orchestra, the following students were selected to participate in that honor orchestra. The high school orchestra students accepted into the honors orchestra were Molly Hill in violin, Lana Owen violin, and then junior high students were Cardi Kirst cello, and Madeline Hillman cello, and then Lydia Pettifish cello, Charlie Connor viola. Congratulations to those students. And then we had our girls wrestling ladies that made the state meet. Kylie Wainwright was 4th place, Jory Hannenberg was 4th place, and Madison Andrews was a state qualifier. Also wanted to recognize the high school boys swim state qualifiers. Keaton Brock, 100-meter butterfly, 200-yard butterfly, 200-yard freestyle relay, 400-yard freestyle relay, which was also school record for PD. And then Rylan was a 500-yard freestyle and 200-yard IM. And both just got done competing at the state meet. Did awesome.
This is last weekend, wasn't
Yep,
it?
just last weekend. Congratulations to those two. The Southeast State Large Group Contest. Okay, this is my challenge. Choral reading, metamorphosis. And she made sure to tell me that that was the plural of that. So they had a rating of excellent, all state performing choral reading. Amber Boswell, Amira Blackwell, Addison Greer, Grace Hammond, Sella Hansen, Abby Harrison, Caitlin Noach, Caitlin Knucky, Ryan Lasher, Eva Lillard, Keegan Panther, Lauren Pulowski, Riley Blymail, Braden Serrano. And then Readers Theater was Bolshot Crumman, excellent rating, Gabby Anderson, Rose Burklow, Taylor Crane, Grace Hammond, Michael Kinty, Thomas McCarthy, Hannah Nelson, Hannah Noonan, Caleb Strom, Taylor Vondal. And then A Few Good Men, rating excellent, Michael Kinty, Thomas McCarthy, Isaiah Serrano, Caleb Strom. Steel Mongolia's was a rating of excellence. Amber Boswell, Adriana Blackwell, Rose Berklow, Ava Hagedorn, Anna Harris, and Jane Nichols. And then 13 Ways to Screw Up Your College Interview, which I got to enjoy. It was actually really funny.
Are you going to incorporate that into the curriculum?
Yes, I mean, we should, actually. Meredith Carlson, Caitlin Nepper, Madeline Logston, Emma Zarostowick. That was my tricky one. And then Lovin Improv, rating excellent, Avery Kelly, Eva Lovin, Lauren Pulowski. And then musical theater, 25th annual Putnam County Spelling Bee. And they were all good, so I didn't want to just point out one, but Ryan Mosher, Maddox Lamb, Hannah Noonan, and Princesses in Love, Gabriella Anderson, Anna Harris, Amaya Kelsey. Short film, just Snowball, Harley Harrington and Parker Harrington. And then the North Scott speech team is coached by Emily Hines and Adam Sanders and supported by the North Scott speech techies, Aiden Chiswick, Nora Glover, Abby Harrison, Hope Harrison, Aiden Kelsey, and Ryan Stickler. Just congratulations to them all. So, phew.
It's exciting.
I think that's why Joe left, actually.
Isn't that great, though? We can recognize all those people.
Yes.
It's very exciting. Maybe we should have them come do like a couple performances. Because I'm intrigued by the 13 ways to
Yes, it was
screw up your college.
And All-State is this weekend, Saturday, in Ames.
All right. Well, thank you very much, Shane. On to the bills. Jill?
Thank you. This evening I have $524,876 worth of bills presented for approval for payment. The items I have to highlight include a payment to ServPro for $25,118. That was for water remediation services at central office. There's a payment to Allers and Cooney for $25,146 for bond counsel fees for the issuance of the revenue bonds, and a payment to Wilson Restaurant Supply for $94,498 for new ovens at the junior high kitchen. Thank you.
Need a motion to?
Motion to pay the bills.
Second.
All right, it's a motion to second. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, Jill, just a question. So the Allers and Cooley, OE that you mentioned, the bill, then we also have payment to PFM. Are all the charges in for the?
Yeah, this was the very last one.
64,000
Yep.
for the bonds, right?
Yep.
And so all that's the end of them.
Yep. All right.
And we've gotten all the information from all of them. There's no more work we're going to be doing with them, right?
No, not that's scheduled. No. Okay.
Thanks.
Hey, Joe, I have a question too. Now, the mental health contracts, when will that be coming up again?
Mental health contracts.
Usually they're done annually, like with Bethany, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, they're done annually. So before the start of next school year.
Oh, it starts at the school year?
I believe so.
Okay, I just kind of want to know.
I can
You're a
double,
couple months
if
ahead,
I'm
I think.
wrong, I'll double check and let you know, but
Yeah,
also.
I mean, I just
July.
wanted to know what changes there might be of that. I know we all probably would, but I do.
Yeah.
Thanks.
And Jill, I had a question on the ServPro stuff. I'm sure that's insurance is involved with all that. Can you explain?
Yeah, so building damage, our deductible is $25,000. So we were going ahead and pay
Regardless
this.
of the building.
Yeah, yep, district-wide. So we'll go ahead and pay this bill, and essentially just about everything after that we'll get reimbursed for with insurance.
Okay.
Yeah.
So just for those of you that may not know, we had a water line break, like, what was it?
That really cold week. Christmas Day. Yeah.
Christmas Day, and so it sat, and nobody's at central office, and so that's why we're meeting here. So, but it's got new carpet and it's repainted, looks really nice. So our next board meeting, that's not at the site, will be there, so it'll be really, really exciting. Thanks to the interior decorators that we have on staff
Yeah.
here, so we'll greatly appreciate it. I think it was Katie and
A lot of Jill.
a lot of Jill.
I mean, I had opinions, of course.
Safety in numbers.
All right, so any other discussion on the bills? Thank you, Joe.
So next is Chris on March.
Yes.
We only have one meeting
The
in
only
March.
one meeting in March, yeah.
We'll be back in there.
Yes. Yep. Okay, hearing none, no more discussion, can I, All those in favor of paying the bills, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Great. Motion passes. Pay the bills. All right, now on to committee reports. Shane, I assume that's, or is that not how it's, yeah.
So the first one's the Health Insurance Committee. The Health Insurance Committee, we met on February 8th, and the committee was updated on our current year finances year to date. We're in the black this year, which we weren't in the prior year, so that's exciting. True North presented us with quotes for our stop-loss insurance carrier. And as a result, the committee is recommending that we go with HCC this year. It's a 9.0% increase from where we were before. The original quote we had was at a 19% increase, so we're excited about that. And the only other thing I would add, though, is stop loss. The increase in that's just our administrative costs. We're self-insured. So that's a very, very small piece of the cost of the fund. And what's changes that we've made over the last year, we're actually planning to stay flat. So no increase to the fund in total. So no board action tonight on that, just informational, but we'll get the contracts ready.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions on the health committee? All right, and now moving on to admin reports. Again, just give us your highlights for the week. Everybody gets the Google Doc that we can look through. So, gosh, we're in a weird city situation here.
Thanks.
Start with Shane.
All right, I'll just point out a couple of different things. We've got a lot of good things happening, but it was really special at the regional meet for girls wrestling. It's the first time. It's a history making, which was pretty neat, and I got to go enjoy that, and it was just an amazing atmosphere, first of all, and then just to be part of something that's the first time was amazing. So I'm proud of all of our girls who competed at that meet, and girls that maybe weren't on varsity but still part of a huge team. To be the first at North Scott was pretty awesome. And then, of course, I guess the other main thing I was going to point out is Mrs. Webb in English 4 had mock interviews and brought in companies to talk to our seniors that were in the English 4 class. They interviewed the kids one-on-one and then looked at the resume as well. And it's funny because you get to observe, like, well, Mrs. Webb, my resume is fine, but then you get a business coming in and saying, well, I would tweak this, this, and this, and it's like, oh, okay, all right, we'll do that. So it was a pretty powerful experience for those students.
Shane? Bernie?
Yeah, we were out at John Glenn in January for Curriculum Cabinet. We had the chance to go into, I think, 4 classrooms that day, and we observed Reader's Workshop, which is helping us move forward with our K-6 professional development this year, just getting really tight on some instructional practices and routines within the ELA block. So it's helping us move forward in that. Continuing to chug along at the secondary level with grading practices as well. Mr. Jones is going to be hosting us there here in a couple weeks to do more of the same in his building. The winter testing window for our students finished up. We had grades 4 through 10 engage in MAP testing. This was the first time that we had all of the students at the elementary level engage in MAP testing. I'm sorry, it was actually only up through 8th grade who took MAP assessments this winter, but for the first time we had all students take the assessments in the winter at the elementary level. And then FAST testing also finished up. So those results should have gone home that first week in February. They were shared with parents.
Thank you, Bernie. Heather?
The Special Ed Advisory Committee, the agenda is linked there. So we kind of just discussed the things that we've been doing in the Special Ed department. The next steps for that committee will be to create a caregiver handbook on special education. So that's more for like parents, like a go-to guide on what kind of services we offer in the process that we go through for different IEPs and IEPs. So next steps for that group.
Yeah, Neil Armstrong. Just to highlight, I guess, was our kindergarten first grade music program. It really brought to mind all the little kids and the noise running out there, just the enthusiasm and the energy that they bring. And then the patience of our music teachers, right? To get that, we had 90 kids on stage, and just to harness that energy and the excitement. It's fun to see, just that enthusiasm. And then, and then watching them develop over the course of the years and how well our music teachers really do a nice job of bringing those kids along from how they start. You know, they're squirrels on that stage that first couple of years, but then by the time they're 4th, 5th, 6th grade, they do a really nice job. So just to highlight those teachers and the great work that they do, it's always fun to see. So hence by all the noise, the parents, and how fun that is for them.
Yeah, one thing the last couple weeks we've done an island trip that was a lot of fun. We meet once a month in our school families, which are K-16s that all get together with different staff members around the building. We try to focus on, this year our school mantra is being all in, and just what that means to come to school every day and work hard, give your best effort, be kind to one another. But then we talked about what does that look like in our community, and so we had teachers and students go out and they filmed different things around the community, holding doors, picking up after yourself, all these different things. They filmed at the Y, the subway, the Elevate Jump Park, and then they put it together in a video that we showed. And then the kids made Valentines for like Grand Haven and different nursing homes and facilities around the community, which we talked to the kids just about how doing those things kind of betters our community as a whole. So it's kind of a fun lesson. And you know, that's where we talk about doing all these different things at school, but it's bleeding out in the community as well. So,
Thank you, Chad.
Just over the past couple of weeks, it's been exciting to see a lot of students in just some of our extracurricular activities. Like, had some students that participated in the children's play, the Cat in the Hat, the Lancer Productions part with that. We've got some 6th graders getting ready for mock trial. We had students take part in Invent Iowa, so just seeing them take part in a lot of those different activities that we have. This week is a fun week at Grissom for all of our grades. We call it our Cabin Fever Week. Our PTO works together to set up just some different activities, some fun activities to get kids out and moving, and just kind of helps to break up, you know, this long stretch of winter. And you know, kids are going a little stir crazy, and so this helps just kind of get them moving around a bit, and also just allow them to, you know, get some experiences that they might not typically get to do. So we've got like roller skating and bowling, just some fun things that will get them out and moving too. So we're looking forward to that this week.
Can adults participate too?
If you want to stop by, we got a full week. So yeah.
No, I wouldn't want to. Thank you, Erin.
Yeah, we have some fun events coming up. So we have our bingo night on February 25th, and really excited to host that here at the high school this year. More room, and we're excited for that. We had to be very flexible, and our pre-K through 3rd grade music concert was scheduled for last Thursday, and it was shifted to this Thursday instead. So we had some nasty weather during the school day. The weather was all right before school and after school, but during the school day when we needed to transport the kids to Reavers, it wasn't safe. So we just decided to postpone the whole thing for Thursday. And then, yeah, I have a lot of things in the report, but just wanted to highlight our appreciation for all of the people who come into our building and read with our kids. So we have a lot of different people that do that. Rotary readers, mystery readers, we have guests that are family members that come in. Lancer Productions kids came in and read with our students, and so it's really nice to have that outreach.
Thank you, Erin. Chad in the back.
All right. Yep, Chad from the back row here. Junior high. We got a lot of things going on. We are wrapping up our first ever North Scott Junior High swim team. That's been really great to see all of our students getting over there in the pool over at the Y.
How many is that, Chad?
What's that?
How many students?
I think we have 16 students. But you can feel the interest building, and our coach has been phenomenal and working and understands the importance of getting our youth structure built in there to get even more swimmers going. And then the highlight, we had our 6th grade music concert showcase. And so we had all of the 6th graders come over to the junior high school, and our music department, our choir, Mr. Skiles, our orchestra, Miss Hoppy and Mr. Lorenzen, and our band, Mr. Probst and Miss Noblo, did a terrific job of showcasing all of the different options that our students can do at the junior high in regards to music. And the 6th graders were amazing with their behavior and gave all their attention, and were able to kind of get some information before they make a decision at the secondary level where their first experience with electives. So hopefully the students remember that, so when I visit all of the elementary schools coming up here in a few weeks, they make an educational choice on which path they want to go down. So that was our showcase.
Thank you, Chad.
Yep.
Thanks to you music teachers for doing that. I do have a question.
Yeah.
For Chad and Tar. Are you gonna be able to show us that video?
Oh, I understand, Jim. Yeah. Yeah.
I'd love to see it.
Mrs. Talbot, her husband helped put it together for us, so I'm happy to share
What
it.
a wonderful video. I mean,
They made it fun too. They did different things with our therapy dog in there. I think there's a little Bruce Schwartz is dancing in the background.
I do have to see that.
Yeah.
That's worth a watch. Thank you, all of you guys, thanks for what you do and doing the last couple of weeks.
Chad, was this the first year that sixth graders came over to,
Oh, I can answer that too.
It's the first time they came over with me.
You there?
Last year was the first time.
Last year. Did they come last year? Yeah, I just need to say that I know that we've removed choir as a requirement for seventh grade now. Is it seventh and eighth? It's disappointing. I mean, I was in band and choir and played guitar or whatever, and I think it's such a key life skill that just transforms into multiple places. And so for our kids only to have something in elementary and not have that secondary level, music requirement, I think is just unfortunate. So.
And just to clarify, a student can take choir and band, or choir and orchestra. They just can't take all three.
But they do have to take one.
Yes.
There is a requirement that you do have to take one music credit.
Yeah, that's Iowa code.
But you're not gonna start band or orchestra, we have to start band and orchestra in seventh grade, right? So, which is also, I think many of us also took band in elementary school in fourth, fifth grade, 10th, 5th, 6th grade, and our surrounding districts do too. So, I don't know, that's,
Potential growth opportunity.
yeah.
Any other questions for the admin team?
I just wanted, Chad, so you're gonna talk to the sixth graders here about 3 weeks? So the first part of March, you're gonna be looking at it?
Yeah, it's actually
You have an idea
February
what's going on?
22nd and 21st and 22nd.
Okay, and what are the electives for the junior high right now?
Right now for 7th grade,
Yeah.
we have the 3 musical options: choir, orchestra, band. We have ag tech, study hall, and potentially industrial tech. Spanish 1. Am I missing?
Do we do the 2-year Spanish still? Okay.
Yes.
For those in the crowd, you have to take 7th and 8th grade to get the first year of Spanish. Not 2 years of Spanish.
And I just filled it out with my daughter, and I think the other options were the 3 music classes on there too.
Yep.
I had to
Is
convince
that
her.
programming? Isn't that one?
No,
What's that?
general technologies, I think was what you was
general
mentioning.
Guided tech
Guided
is also
tech,
one,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
I had to convince her that study hall was not.
Yeah.
What's that?
Right, Project Legal Aid is required in class too, right? Like you did one with, Project Legal Aid is not a relatively have used it?
That's at 8th grade.
Yeah.
I think I hear you saying Project Lead the Way.
Yeah.
Right.
And then it facts.
Yeah, so
So you
they
take
all
one
three- that's
semester.
required.
Semester B?
Yes.
And then to Shane, I know the counselors are out. When will you start getting numbers in? I think I heard that they're getting over there doing the junior high here soon.
Started last
Yeah,
week.
they've been-
Yeah, and then actually it sounds really weird that we're talking 8th grade about college transition, but our college transition
Right.
person's over there too, talking, and.
So the number should be in, I think here again, in about 3 weeks, you'll have a rough idea. Thank you.
I think the transition guide that, the freshman transition guide or whatever it's called, I don't know if I missed up with my first one, but there's a lot of information in there, and I've noticed that we're offering, like computer science was not offered to freshmen in the past, right?
Right.
So, I mean, the intro to computers were just gonna be used throughout their high school career, right? But they can take it as a freshman, and it counts as a college class. So I think where Others have had to end load their college credits if they're going that path, has been, you know, junior, senior, but you're spreading that out and giving them the opportunity to do that early with, I mean, intro to computers. I know it's a college class, freshmen have to understand it starts with GPA, but that's an important packet I think that parents should go over with the kids. If you have questions about it, ask what, you know, the different pathways and stuff are. But it's very important that is, you're gonna really read one thing when your kid goes to high school. I think that's a good document of how you can help them figure out what they want to do. So.
And watching the video too, I think that's still posted on the website that you did for the freshman orientation, which is drink from a fire hose, but
yeah,
it's still a lot, like Molly said, a lot of useful information. All right, we're ready to move on to the curriculum presentation. We have Mr. Skiles and Ms. Potts here to talk North Scott Choir. Take it away.
So we're going to start. We'd just like to give you a little bit of a journey from the past to the present of some of the struggles and the successes that we've had with the students here at North Scott. So we want to give you a little history lesson about where we started with our reading. So as far as our all-state choir members, take a look, go back about 15 years ago. So in 2008 year, we had 8 students that were accepted. In 2009, 6, 2010, we dipped down to 4. Then there was a blip in the radar. 2011, we had 10, back to 4 again, 5, 7, 7, and 4. It kind of seems like we always kind of bounce back to that 4 number. When we were going to contests, we were getting more Division 2s than 1s, a little bit frustrating, as well as our large group ratings were kind of all over the place as well. So that gives you a little information. So.
At the elementary level, currently, I offer an elementary course that is open to any 4th, 5th, and 6th grade students. Some years it's been just 5th and 6th, but because of COVID, we had to shut it down for a couple of years, and now that we're restarting, it's now 4, 5, and 6. It's extracurricular, and any student from any of our elementaries may participate. Some of the activities that have some benefits from the elementary course have been the Elks Honor Choir, which is kind of like the junior high and elementary version of all-state singing at that level. It's an audition group. It takes the top 1 to 2% of all singers at that age range for that time period. We've done the Midwest Children's Sports Festival, which is in March. Actually, we're planning on going. Your boy is deciding that's something he decided he needs to do. Okay.
And Mr. Skiles, how do you get that information out to the parents?
Which one?
The
elementary course. We sent that out to all the building administrators and asked them to push the elementary parents. And then we've also participated with the Quad City Symphony in an exchange with them as well. At the junior high level, students may choose, it's elective now, as Mr. Jones was explaining. I think the competitive selection process comes if they wish to choose the Spanish option. That's where I think the rub comes in, where they narrow it down to 1 music selection. And that's been different than it has been in years past. That's what we're currently working on the model like this year. At the 8th grade level, students may choose to roll over from 7th to 8th grade, and we've done very well with the Elks Honor Choir. We were the 2nd highest total in the state this year and have done very well over the last few years. And the WIU Honor Choir, I believe we had somewhere around 110 applicants, and we'll get those results out. So I expect that to go very well.
At the high school, we have 4 curricular choirs that are offered, and it's divided. Females are in the non-audition treble clef chorus. They're 9th graders. The guys, the bass clef chorus, directed by Mr. Skiles, it's non-audition. It's all 9 through 12 are together. Chorale is another female group, and it's audition grades 10 through 12. And then our flagship group, North Scott Singers, is audition 10 through 12. We offer a jazz choir program here at North Scott, which is extracurricular. We have a girls group called Bit of Trouble. The guys group is a whole lot of bass, and our mix jazz choir, which is the select, is 200 South. Overall, our enrollment trend in choir is around 145 to 185.
These sports offerings have actually changed a few times over the years as well. We've tried to adapt our system to best fit the numbers that we have coming in from the junior high and to try to provide students with a quality opportunity and success in our program.
So our mantra at the high school with choir is, how do we get to that next level? So if you ask any of our students, know that we're always talking about what can we do to improve, what goals can we set, how can we show growth to get to that next level. And as you remember back to those all-state numbers where they were maybe a little bit on the low, they hit that 4, it was kind of a frustrating time for our department. So Paul and I put our heads together and what can we do as a department to increase the skills of our students to kind of get them to that next level. In the spring of each year, our students are tracked with their sight reading skills and also their solfege, and traditionally during that time period, they were on the low side. So Paul and I really thought it was time for us to do a major overhaul of how we were teaching, take a look at, is it our skill level as a teacher, do we need to improve? And if we're better at teaching subjects, then obviously our students will be better. So we were fortunate the district supported bringing in Dr. Carol Kruger, who is the leading research and implementation and has a couple of textbooks out on the Takadimi method of counting as well as solfege. We also went to a couple of clinics with John Armstrong. Oops, I'm sorry, not that yet. We really focused on beefing up our skills so that we could go back. So at that point, we implemented the 7 through 12 with all of those skills that we had learned to really develop the complete child when it comes to being in music. So for getting to the next level, we also used ensembles building the ensemble through performance. So we also discovered that when our ensembles, when the students and them know each other, they get along better, they work better, they're bonded, and they're more invested in what we're trying to do. So we've, the past 6, 7 years, we've done short little weekend trips with North Scott Singers. The one on the right, we went to the Kansas City Renaissance Festival, performed a 25-minute program with costuming, dialogue, and Renaissance music. The one on the left, we traveled to St. Louis this fall. We went to, we had an exchange with the school, plus did some sightseeing and sang at a church there.
Along with these short trips, we also try to provide them an opportunity where, like the exchange, or we performed at several colleges around the state of Iowa. We also went to my alma mater, the Conservatory of Music in Kansas City, and we try to expose our kids to getting feedback from a collegiate level instructor and some appreciation or an exchange where they're able to sing with kids at the next step. So for our kids that are interested, I mean, our kids are some of the best singers in the state. That's easily proven. And for those that wish to go on and have that experience, it's nice to provide them with that opportunity to possibly be a future instructor or to see what it could look like at the next level.
So let's go back to 2016. We're at that 4 point. So at this point, we've been incorporating our Takadimi and our solfege probably for a couple of years. And then finally in 2017, it feels like we hit the jackpot. So that was our first year. We went from 4 to 18 all-staters. Going to contest was a lot more fun. We were bringing home a lot more Division 1s and 2s. We had received some outstanding performance awards, and we were actually featured twice on KWQC for an outstanding program.
Which leads us to our big finish this year, setting our school record.
Second in the state to Valley at 26. Our friends at Pleasant Valley were 20.
I'm not saying we're
putting that out there.
That's fabulous.
Of that 25, I'd also like to mention that we're allowed to audition 28. The other 3 got to become. They had the opportunity, they just came up a little short. So we feel like the system we are trying to improve upon, all right, so what's best for our kids? What helps them do what we want them to do, and how can we help them get there? So the bass clef, of course, has been around now, I think, almost 10 years. And when we first started, it was a trial run. It was a single-sex entry-level chorus, and the reason we did that was because the numbers we had that year, if we had filled up what we used to have a chamber chorus, was we had North Scott Singers, which is mixed ensemble, and chamber singers was basically the junior version of that. Kind of the up-and-coming singers. It was audition, but the numbers weren't working out. So we decided that we would give this a go. Now, based on the success, based on the product model, there are a few things that we kind of discovered along the way. One, Men's chorus singing for a certain kind of kid is right up their alley. It is fun. And, you know, if that's how they want to do it, I'm not going to argue because their butts are in the chair and that's where I want them to be. I've had the largest amount of seniors this year. They're a really great group of young men. And they wind up, there's a lot of mentoring that goes on and it has nothing to do with music. It's just a senior guy talking to a freshman like, hey, you don't need to do that. And there's a lot of growing up that goes over the course of the year. And, you know, if you look at our freshmen making the turn, I've got Colton in class, and we talked about squirrels earlier, oh boy. So there's that change, and that young man getting a little bit of advice from an older guy, it really helps. Plus the benefit of just singing with someone who just went through what you're doing. I've got kids at all different places, all different talent levels, and what I found is that even though I try to model appropriately, I'm a 47-year adult male, well, that kid's 16 and you're 14. I just went through that. Here's how it works. This is what worked for me. So there's a lot of different things going on just vocally that it just kind of came along the side benefit. Plus, I guess Mrs. Potts and I had a chance to work with our young men and get them exactly ready for what they want. Some of these kids are happy to stay with me. They enjoy the experience. It's a little less commitment than our top ensemble, and they have a quality time. Again, fun. This is actually our current enrollment. We have 96 males and 82 females. We're large-sized in a good way. Again, not referencing that sense of Pleasant Valley, but these numbers are something they kill for because all of your ensembles, your top groups are judged by a mixed ensemble. And you ask anybody when you go to a clinic, they're always going to talk first about your low bass sound and then your fundamentals and how you build it up. We don't have any problem with providing those kids that want to go on and have that experience an opportunity. Plus, it gives Mrs. Potts the ability to kind of have the pick of the litter. So, our present, like I said, 96 guys. That's basically the football team. 9-12. We have just as many in vocal music at all levels. And I'm nothing but pleased with that.
So what's in the future for choir? We're always evolving, so we're taking a look at making some changes in our curriculum for this coming year. So based off of the bass clef model, we're going to do the same thing with the 9th grade treble clef chorus and the 10 through 12 women's chorus. So we're going to combine those two with hopes of using the older students as mentors for the younger ones. And we're going to call that bel canto. So bel canto means beautiful singing in Italian. And it's also a style of voice that Mr. Stiles and I studied that we teach our students. So we're also adding a smaller class called studio voice, which focuses on the individual. We do have some students that are not comfortable in the large group setting when it comes to choir, so this is more individualized for them. We'll be doing recitals quarterly, just really focusing on building confidence for our young singers.
I'd like to mention that what we're trying to duplicate is the success of having our singers at different levels in different places and create a unique new ensemble. It used to be 2 mixed ensembles and then the women's chorale. The women's chorale used to have its own mystique. It was a place where they felt like they were treated special because they were only one of their kind. I think some of the problem that we've had throughout the years is that some of our girls, they feel like they get stuck in chorale and they don't know how to move forward. So we're looking to, again, build on the success of what we've already done and we have these festival groups that where we have any of our young ladies that would like to audition be a part of, but we're looking to kind of up everything so that we can provide them with a place that maybe they don't want to move on to North Scott Singers, but this new group will provide them with a place where they want to be. It'll meet their needs at their level, and they can feel like that will provide them a quality experience. And the reason we mention these things is because when we keep trying to meet our kids where they're at, well, you know, sooner or later that's a discussion that leads back to where they started. This is Jesse Eller. Jesse Eller is a sophomore now. He's also an all-state singer. I like using Jesse as an example because he flat out told me how he wasn't going to enjoy my class as a 7th grader and this was going nowhere. The boy's very honest and always amused me, but he's now an all-state singer. Okay, well then, how do we get from here to there. And
You
it's that
read his-
process.
Read his stuff, Paul, what
Oh,
he says.
okay. At first, I didn't want to be in choir because it seemed boring and pointless. As I went on to my 8th grade year and on up, it has become my favorite and most meaningful class. Our kids are full of stories like this. Chorus is much the same. Basketball and choir are both the things I love, so it's easy to make them both work. My teammates are really supportive, and I can even carry singing over in basketball when I sing the national anthem. What this doesn't reflect is she was kind enough to make a video that I was allowed to show to my 7th and 8th graders. And it basically talks about, again, she wasn't very interested. She had no idea that this was something she could do. She's a 3-time All-State singer. That child has something that very few people will be able to accomplish.
What about Seth?
Going into junior high, I thought I was going to quit choir after 7th grade because I was a football player. I was a wrestler. Turns out I really enjoyed it. I went to high school and realized I loved them both. I wasn't just a football player and a wrestler, I was also a singer.
Hey, that's great.
Cora has sung the national anthem a couple times. That's absolutely lovely. It's lovely.
Along with our current students, we also have some feedback from some of our alumni.
We reached out to students that are either music majors or involved in choir some way, so everybody probably knows the first one. Caitlin, I'm grateful for everything choir taught me, and now I get to use the skills I learned in high school and apply them to my studies as a vocal performance major at Drake University. Gordy Field, who's at Warford, is in the Warford Choir, happens to be the student body president. I can say without a doubt that Where I Am as a musician is 100% because of Northside Choir. The work ethic and discipline required to be a great musician extend far beyond music in life. Ben Council just decided this year to be a music education major at Iowa State. I was able to meet Mr. Skiles and Mrs. Potts and learn valuable lessons, not just for music, but also guidance that has shaped who I am today. Choir has given me the chance to dive into different cultural experiences as we have done pieces from many different cultures. And we have 2 more. Riley Sint, who loves lawnmowers and pipe organs, from Riley. My career as a church music director revolves around fundamentals that were taught to me in Northside Choirs. Choirs have served as a principal foundation in my growth and learning both in college and as I entered my new career field. And Abby Campbell, who is Scott Campbell's daughter, who's teaching. I had opportunities to compose, arrange, to lead sectionals, and to accompany the choir. When I walked into Northside Singers as a freshman, I was so nervous and felt out of place. By senior year, the choir room was my home, and being a choir kid was my identity.
And just didn't Ronnie come back and do his, at the awards night, he did his speech?
Yes.
That was so cool.
Yeah.
And that is that. Do we have any questions?
I think both of you are doing a fantastic job, and I couldn't applaud you more. Just a great job. Thank you. Thank you for all that you do, Scott.
I would just like to say, I know I was part of that Takanini. When we brought in the guru, and I sat through that whole thing. Now, I sang in choir in high school and all that, and it was way over here. But to watch the progression, now we had all our music teachers in there, didn't we?
Right. Yeah.
I mean, music, instrumental and vocal.
Yes.
And it was amazing to watch all of them work together. And I will say, Paul was the one that was the big push behind this. And he didn't give up, but I think it was a major accomplishment to get where we are right now. And you can see what's happening with the music program. I'm very proud my granddaughter was able to go and do what she did, but she wouldn't have done that without you guys. And my grandson thoroughly enjoyed bass choir. Unfortunately, he's going the pathways and doesn't have any room in his schedule. Otherwise, he probably would have been in bass choir again. And if anybody has not seen a choir concert and seen the bass choir sing, and you didn't leave laughing, there was a problem with it. I'll tell you that right now. Because you can tell those kids are having fun. And you can tell the quality of kids that we have performing on the stage. So congratulations, keep up the hard work. 25, we'll put a, we're going to be shooting for 30 then. Okay, very near future. Competition.
But I love your passion, and obviously it's a attest to you that you have that record. It's gonna be more than that, of course. But, you know, these kiddos need this. This is so wonderful. And I wrote it down because I think this is so, develop the complete child. And when do you start that? I mean, we need to start that from day one, but where do you start that in the music program? Like elementary?
Oh, I have this tendency to be brutally honest on day one, so right away.
I know. But thank you for that, because I love that concept, and that's what this is about. This is developing them in every way, and you guys do that. Thank you for all you do. Can't say enough about you.
From a dad's perspective, thank you. You know, Caitlin's involved in band and in North Scott Singers, and you know, she got focused on getting her AA degree, but she was not going to give up choir because she loved it, and she took summer classes instead. But that's just thank you to you.
And also as a dad too, I would say what you're doing works because my 8th grader has recruited my incoming 7th grader. She knows chosen choir as a 7th grader.
What are you, 6?
I have no idea what that is, but.
You don't hear it.
I was very pleased when she auditioned for WIU. And that was a big step for her. I'm really proud of her.
Yeah, she is very proud of the fact that she would do that. So I've seen a lot of growth with her. So thank you, Paul.
I think, I just wrote down, I love the student quotes. Cora hits the point of carrying over the parts of her life. And I think this is the gold standard to tell us, how are we really doing? We can give students test scores, we can see what they do when they walk across the stage. But to me, it's after, and they get out in the real world, and they reflect back of how well did we prepare them. And I think asking them after they've graduated is such an important thing, and I think we should do that more, because only then, I believe, we can, how do we prepare them for the world, right? And they will know then, and appreciate then, and understand then when, if they've been prepared or not, or we're, lacking. So thank you for, I'm sure they come back and love to visit all the time, but thank you for doing that.
And that's a good question. Do you guys, is that part of that? You bring them back? Do you talk to the students too, like Caitlin?
I would say a lot of them come back on their own.
I know.
They just come back on their own.
That's what I was
and they go right
hoping to
back.
say.
I mean, I know that for a fact.
We love you guys.
I just want to thank you guys too, and echo what Molly said. It has to feel amazing to hear what these graduates say about you guys. It's the best part about being a teacher. So thank you.
Some of the graduates.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, before we move on to old business, I heard through the grapevine that we have some student government students sitting back. Do you mind introducing yourselves and telling us who your teacher is? You thought you were going to get away with it. Okay, thank you. And then, after the meeting, come up, we can sign, any of us can sign your papers too. So, all right, no old business, and moving on to new business. First item being the Bennett Building Maintenance Shared Agreement. Seems like we just approved the first one.
I think this is the third one.
This is the third one?
Yeah, this is our third year. Included in the packet then is the shared agreement. This is for Scott for the grounds director position with Bennett. There's no change from the prior year. The agreement is the same. It does generate the 4 FTEs on our student count, and then Bennett will actually reimburse the district 20% of Scott's cost. So it's a good program. I'm asking for board approval.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All right, it's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion?
Is that the same you said?
Yeah, no changes.
20%, it was, okay.
Yeah.
So that was my question. The state hasn't changed any of the weighted guidelines or anything like that?
You know what, I guess I didn't go back and look and see if they did change it, but it's.
Because every once in a while you kind of hear like that.
If they did, maybe it was just by one, I don't remember.
Part of that this year's
That
extending it,
position.
the sharing, right? So they
Yes.
extended the sharing
Yeah,
agreement.
I think they added some positions too.
Yes, we'll work past it.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, any more discussion? All right, all those in favor of approving the sharing agreement, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion passes. Contract's good to go. Now on to copy systems. Is that you again, Joe?
It is. Yeah, so the technology department has been working hard on locking down a quote with copy systems. It has actually been 7 years since our last replacement. The equipment replacement for this contract is $150,608, with annual maintenance and printing cost of $37,237. It's actually less than a $1,000 increase from what we had 7 years ago. I think that, I know, you don't hear that anymore. You know, assuming we're printing the same amount, it's very small, very minimal. And I know that the tech team likes working with Copy System. It was a state-approved bid, and I guess I can take any questions, see if I can answer them. Else, looking for board approval to continue with Copy Systems and get new machines here in the spring.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any discussion?
So if we're buying these, right? We're not leasing or anything like that?
Correct.
We do every, okay.
So even though we're buying them, will they give us maintenance?
That's part of the contract.
part of
That's part of it, okay.
Yeah.
That's what I want to make sure.
I'm just amazed
Any-
that you got 7 years out of previous.
It's a big deal.
Does they have bad readers? Is that, I mean, have we kind of talked with the?
I didn't ask the specifics. I think just more maintenance on them, right?
Well, I mean, it's also a convenience factor. Can staff just send their, you know, like,
Yep.
instead of having to go and, you know, just stuff, whatever, there's different technology changes.
They do have bad
Make
readers,
their-
though. That's what you said. I guess I didn't hear. I didn't hear. Yes,
Yeah.
they do have bad readers. And the district can use them at any building. We can go around anywhere and print on the
Okay, so
machines.
you print a queue and then it's, you can print wherever.
Yep.
without
Yep.
matching. Okay.
And
I
that
just
saves,
asked.
saves a lot of waste
Yeah.
by that.
Yeah, because you forget about a lot of things.
Yeah.
Personal experience. Yeah.
So you know, it's not like that Office episode where they have the 21 digit and the thing.
No.
Sorry.
But just, I mean, anything also that I hope that there's anything that I know, you know, we don't have a term room anymore or whatever, but just anything that can help the staff be more efficient and spend less time, you know, there when we do that.
7 years ago was the first time we went from centralized printing to decentralized printing. We've only added 2 machines because we spent a lot of time studying, you know, what we needed. So,
Good,
yeah.
thank you.
Yep.
It's been, any more discussion on this? All right. All those in favor of approving the Copy Systems contract, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right. Motion passes. Contract's approved. All right, moving on to board comments. Do we have anything for board comments?
Yes, I'll email all of you, but I'm gonna do the lunch service recognitions next Tuesday, I believe, and I'll let you know the time. I gotta check with Amy. That's 21st, but I'll let you know whoever wants to show up that they can give up certificates. And we'll work with Katie and Amy.
Is that for the high school?
That's for the high school, and we could run over to junior high too.
The 21st is.
Yeah. But I'll email you. Thanks, guys.
And then Molly and Frank, you're heading, Bernie's driving you
Yes.
both ways, I heard.
For lobbying day.
I heard Frank's a great driver.
And then I'll be back to the
We're trying to jump that, Bernie.
Make sure she heads west, not east.
Yeah, direction, change direction.
And Frank, you had said something too about forums, legislative forums too.
Oh, this Saturday is going to be a legislative forum at Fairmont Library, and I believe 10 o'clock start. So if you want to go and ask some questions, you can go to Fairmont Library. Hopefully all our legislators will be there.
And you want to visit with the president of the
I was on a Zoom meeting today with headhunters on selecting candidates for the new executive director. We've got some great candidates. Next week we will have Zoom meetings with, I think, 6 to 8 of them. And then the following week we'll have individual meetings, and hopefully we'll have somebody by the end of this month. So, good people.
I did stop at Tasty, Mr. Representative Bonner was there on Saturday, so their Saturday mornings, and had some good discussions about the ESAs and student tuition STOs and stuff like that. They are looking at Chapter 21, as he said, and seeking input, so if we have any input to give, we'd like to be passed on.
Thank you, everybody.
adjourn.
Second?